have seen a guy fall asleep in a garden though, in a little bush. Kimchi.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Korean cultural differences. We've both been living in Korea for about a year, so we've seen a lot and talked to a lot of Koreans. We're here to just share our experiences with you all. This is my friend. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Pedro, aka... I don't know, you gotta delete that. Let's start again. You caught me by surprise. Yes, I'm Pedro, happy to be here. I am from South Africa.
I am from America. When it comes to driving in Korea, you have to be really careful because a lot of cars go by fast and you can easily wind up in front of a car on accident and almost hitting you.
There's a lot of couple vibes, couple situations.
They're always just like doing like this, you know, in public with their friends, and it'll be like 4 girls just doing that, and they're like our age. There's a smell in the air. Do you smell it? Do you smell it?
Listen, I love bad smells. It's just a weird thing about me. When I walked out of the airport, walked out of Seoul Station, and that sewage smell just hit me. It was a love-hate relationship. I loved it, but I hated it because it's everywhere and it stinks.
Especially when you go over those like, what do they call
like
the drains?
Manholes?
Yeah,
manholes, drainage systems.
You just get a whiff of it.
It hits you, especially in winter. You know, it hits you.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah. And then in the summer, I don't know what it does to the water, but then the water starts smelling so bad. I had to buy plugs for all of my drains because then it would just smell like that in your apartment. I was like, what's wrong with my clothes? Why are they smelling like this?
There's also, in terms of air pollution, I think it's called yellow dust.
Oh, yeah.
Yellow dust. At some season, there's like a whole lot of yellow dust in the air. You start seeing it like on the ground and on the cars. It starts like collecting dust and it's a yellow color.
I want to share an app.
Cool.
Nope. Okay. It's called AirVisual, and it will show you the air quality like every day. So I'll get like a notification at 8 in the morning and it will tell me how the air quality is. So right now it's saying it's 78. That's pretty good. You know, 0 to 50 is like the best air quality, which is what we have in California. But when it gets to like 150 to 200, it's pretty bad for people who have asthma and some like lung issues. For me, I have asthma. I remember in the summer just having to stay home. My lungs start telling me there's something happening and we're tightening and it's painful.
I think if you sort of normal, healthy, don't have asthma, don't have any respiratory issues, it's not a problem. Humidifiers are very popular over here as well.
So that's the one that cleans the air, so that helps me a lot for my house.
Bowing, I quite enjoy that one. So obviously they don't shake hands or anything like that. I think the first Korean person I met over here, approached them, said hi, stuck out my hand, and there was this little awkward moment where they were looking at me and I was like, why are you being weird? And then I realized all I needed to do was bow, you know? You don't always have to speak or talk or always say hello or ask somebody how they are. A simple bow, simple nod of the head.
With formal and informal language, that's something I had to learn about because I would use formal language when I first got here, but then when I first met a Korean, he taught me there's informal language. For example, hello is 안녕하세요. So he's like, you don't have to say the whole thing. You can just say 안녕, you know? So I just got so used to saying 안녕. One time, one of my co-teachers caught me and she's like, Sam, you shouldn't say 안녕 to like everyone. It's very disrespectful to like your elders.
If you're not sure, just always be formal. It's just usually, it just ends up working better. If the person you're speaking to recommends or suggests that you can be informal, then by all means.
So Koreans, they can be very nosy about your life. When I first got here,
your love life.
Yeah, like when I first got here, when I had my introductions for all of my classes, at the end I would say, oh, do you guys have questions? And every single class asked, oh, do you have a boyfriend? It is a way of them showing that they care about you. There are some toilets where for women, you don't have a seat, you have to stand and pee, and there's just like a hole. And the first time I saw that, I was really confused and I was like, am I in the men's bathroom? Where's like the seats at? I got used to it and I still just find the stalls that have the seat, but I know that Korean girls do use that to go number 1.
Yeah, so I usually stand and pee, so it's pretty normal for me, I guess. But I think one thing that is quite strange for me is when you do a number 2, you can't really flush toilet paper. There's usually like a little dustbin along the side of the toilet. You'll find some used toilet paper in there. It gets a bit weird sometimes.
When it comes to washing your hands, there really isn't any like paper towels. In America, we just have that even in public restrooms, but here you walk out with like wet hands. Or I've seen some Korean women, they'll have their towel in their purse that they use.
You don't really find dustbins or rubbish bins on the side of the road. That's something I find quite strange. Indoor shoes, very cool if you like being comfortable. Best thing ever. Walk into a building or into your office, take off your shoes, put on some slippers or some indoor shoes. Walking around, nobody really cares. You don't have to sort of make sure you look good, but always wear socks. Yeah, don't show any toes. Like, just keep the socks on.
Oh, we're in one of my favorite vegan cafe restaurants, grocery store in our city called Daegu. This is the place I go to because there aren't a lot of vegan options here. It's a trend in Korea, but it's also not, like, it's not as strong. There is like vegan group chats you can join of all of Korea. In my experience here in Daegu, 2 vegan restaurants have closed down, and then I know of another one in Busan that closed down, but also that doesn't show the stores that may be opening or like stores that may be offering more options.
Do you think like vegan options are more popular like in the bigger cities like Seoul or Busan?
Yeah, like
as opposed to where
definitely.
we are?
In Seoul, when I visited, there's so many vegan options. There's a lot of restaurants that have English names. It is really hard for me because even at the grocery stores, it's just harder to find the vegan options. In America, we have Whole Foods and all of these stores. I go to like one of the more expensive grocery stores to shop at, Amar. They have like a small organic section because I'm just so used to eating organic.
In general, I guess the food is really nice. I do find it quite delicious. And I do think Koreans do stress sort of a healthy eating habit. One awesome thing that I quite appreciate over here is the menus usually have pictures of the actual food that you would most likely order. So that's quite nice. So you don't have to sort of be too concerned about what it is that you might get because you'd have a good visual representation of it.
When you're at Emar and you have to give your card, or like GS25 and you give your card, you have to use both hands. So if I give this ice cream to you, I give it to you with 2 hands.
I receive it with 2 hands. So both.
Yeah.
And which way am I going? Yes.
Yeah.
Hand on the side.
Yeah. So
awesome.
that's something I had to like learn as a respectful way. Gifting culture.
Yeah, I think it's quite big. Since this month started, I probably got a random gift every day at school, either in the form of some kind of food. Koreans love coffee. Americano goes a long way if you're not sure what to get them or what they like.
When it comes to drugs in Korea, very illegal. They don't have anything except like cigarettes. A research study posted that said every year it's kind of increasing the sales, of cigarettes.
If you vape, a lot of vaping stores out here as well. I don't think it would be very easy to get any other kind of drugs in Korea as well, just because it's very difficult and there's not much of it happening here anyway. So I think they kind of forced to turn towards cigarettes or alcohol or any other medical stuff.
But there's also like this type of cancel culture going on in Korea that I'm seeing about if you're getting caught using some type of drug. Not even like the main ones we know in America, like medical drugs. For example, when you get your wisdom teeth out and they give you like that anesthesia stuff, people are getting caught with these types of drugs. They're losing their job, they're like getting off of all campaign. The Gangnam Style guy, he was caught with drugs.
Psy?
Yeah, Psy, and like they've canceled him. Like some people don't like him in Korea. When it comes to the drinking stuff, I don't know if you experience this, but you'll see lots of older Koreans, not even young people, maybe young people sometimes, just throwing up on the side of the street in bushes.
I've seen professional men, in full suit, passed out on the street, a couple of times actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've seen that. Belongings, cell phone, wallet, everything sort of just lying there, and then just passed out, for however long they passed out for.
And in Korea, they don't steal.
Yeah, I have seen a guy fall asleep in a garden though.
When it comes to homeless people in Korea, I don't see them as often. In America, it's super common. Is it common in Africa?
Yeah, homeless people, sort of people begging on the streets. In Korea, I've only seen a few, like a handful, like 2 or 3 in Seoul maybe, or Busan, like in the subway. The ones in Korea are very conservative as well. They don't seem to bother you much. They just sit in their place. They hope you give them something, of course, but they don't really bother you. They don't cry out or anything like that.
I talked to a Korean about that, and they were saying that it's because there's a lot of government programs that are there to help people who are struggling. That's awesome. I was at a store and I wanted to try on a few shirts. So I went to the fitting rooms, and then the person who was there was telling me like, no, I can't enter. And I was super confused. Well, this isn't like a male fitting room. This is like a unisex one. You know, it's like the only one in their store. America, like maybe 10 or 3 or 10 or 5 items, the max. And I only had like 3 shirts. And then eventually he told me like, oh, like makeup and like stuff like that. And then I was confused as I wasn't wearing makeup. Like I don't wear makeup. So when I talked to a Korean about it, there's a lot of stuff like, you know, you can stretch out the shirt, and then the makeup thing, you can ruin the shirt, and so like some places they won't let you try on the clothes.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think they give you like a face shield or like a mask if you have makeup on and you do want to try. You want to try it on.
I don't buy any jeans here.
Yeah,
they are small. When I am traveling to different countries, if they have my European stores, I'll go there.
I struggle with t-shirts. Seems very simple, but my lower section would stick out very easily. I guess even if I buy like a bigger size shirt, it gets wider, but it's not like long enough. Do you know what I mean? If you're really tall, just ask the people who are here. Like ask the other foreigners who are here. They most likely would have found a place that caters to them. If not, online. Probably one of the best options to buy clothes, Coupang, G-Market. You can obviously buy according to your size. And most of these online stores, they have like a size table or a size chart. It's a lot of pressure. Like you see it with the kids regularly. They're always falling asleep. They try as best as they can to stay focused, but you know, they're having a lot of late nights, studying during the day, attending school, after school. They do a lot of after-school classes at academies. On weekends, we just came back from vacation, and every single one of my students was going to an academy during the vacation, which I thought was crazy.
When my co-teachers would talk to me about like, oh yeah, the SAT is coming up, kind of Korea shuts down. Like there's no flights that come in that morning, driving to work and stuff like that. You have to come a little bit later after the test is over. We have an SAT in America, so is it the same thing? No, it's like a Korean version that is very intensive, and it helps to get to college. And a few top colleges in Korea, it's like a make it or break it thing. Like if you don't get into them, Koreans see themselves almost as worthless, you know?
Sort of Ivy League, right?
Yeah, the Ivy League. Of course, in America, you will have parents that pressure their kids. They're like norm here.
In South Africa, you might skip a class here or there. Korean students don't skip class. I had a kid today in my class. He broke his arm. Right? I don't know if he broke his arm yesterday or on the weekend. And he was out of it. He was in class, but he was out of it. He was in pain. It was just, you could just see it all over his face. And you know, the Korean teachers were trying to cater to him, but he was there. He was there, and he was like pushing through. And you know, it's the pressure. I think it's a lot. It's a lot. I think I'm very grateful in that sense that I was able to have a balanced childhood. You get to study and you get to have fun, go outside and play. But with Koreans, play it's not important at all.
We're now adding vegan coconut ice cream to the video. It's an Earl Grey flavor.
Machita.
Okay. If you're sick, you don't just stay home and call in like America. You sometimes have to go into the office and then get approved to leave. They really are like on you, I would say, about are you really sick. For example, for me, I have like a big mosquito problem. Mosquitoes just love me and they'll bite me. In a few of the months, like of the year, they're around, and so they get into my house. And one time a mosquito bit my eyelid and like it started like closing, like yeah, my eyelid. So like half of my half of my eyelid was down, so like my vision was like 50% on one side of my eye. I called in and then they're like, can you come in? So I came in, and then because I could still like see, they were like, okay, well just finish the school day, and then after all your classes you can leave 40 minutes before your work like ends, and to like, you know, to go get checked up.
Yeah. Forget about calling in sick. Like the only way it's gonna work is if it's something very serious.
Yeah.
You might find your coworkers coming into school, they might look horrible, they might look really like tired or sick or something, but they're gonna push through. So dating in Korea is very interesting. Disclaimer, I think everybody has their own experiences.
They match clothes, and this is why I feel like this is a really common cultural difference. You'll see them; they'll just be wearing the same shoes, same sweater, same pants.
If they're not wearing the same clothes, they're either color coordinated. They would even go as far as getting the same matching covers for their cell phones. It's just something that is norm. That is a norm. Like you sort of have to be dating. If you're not dating, what's the reason why? You must have a proper reason why. You know, either you're pursuing your career or whatever it might be. And if you're not, if you're just living normally day to day, then why would you not have a girlfriend or a boyfriend?
Also, when it comes to like when you date someone and parents, you don't really tell your parents right away that you're talking to someone or dating them. It's kind of like when it becomes more serious, then you can, they can meet your parents. In America, for some families, once you tell your parents, I'm talking to this person, I'm dating them, they're like, oh, let's have them over, or let's go to dinner with them.
Yeah, for all the foreign men out there who might want to know, I think it probably. Dating, you probably have better chances in the bigger cities like Seoul and Busan, primarily because of the language barrier. Just being able to speak the same language obviously makes things a whole lot more comfortable. It's my personal opinion that most Koreans have a good understanding of English, or at least good enough to carry a conversation. But the problem is that a lot of them are quite shy. So they might not feel very confident in their speaking ability, even though they might speak very well. So because of that, they wouldn't really engage much in conversation. But also I think if you are interested in dating, I think co-workers tend to have a little bit of an influence. They always have a friend or something like that from what I've heard. Yeah. Otherwise, Tinder, Bumble, I don't see nothing wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. I think Tinder is more popular.
Tell us about your dating life, Sam. How is it going? Have you had good success or no success?
No
or
comments.
Is it just average?
No comments.
You have to pay for that information. What I really like to do is when I'm at a restaurant, I like to sit down, take my time, just relax, enjoy the meal, sit down, speak to whoever I'm with. But in Korea, they have this sort of fast culture, pali, sort of fast moving culture. So most people, or most Koreans, they get into the restaurant, they have their meal as quick as possible, and then they leave.
After eating, everyone will be like cafe or bar or like some other place, karaoke.
Yes.
So there's always something out
They
there.
sort of hop around quite a lot. Have you used a photo booth in Korea?
I've only done it twice with like a group and then like one-on-one with someone I was with.
Yeah.
So like it's cool because they're 24 hours and no one's monitoring it, and they just trust that everyone won't steal, because in Korea they don't steal, so all the props stay there, and you just pay and you get to take like a few photos with friends, and then you get to pick like the best 6 and the best 4, and it's a good like memory. Karaoke is a big thing here.
Yeah.
Koreans love karaoke. They'll sing their hearts out to songs.
Noraebang, that's what it's called. Noraebang.
When it comes to like the club scene, there is a thing where some foreigners aren't allowed in certain places, and I just think there's just more history that you can probably look up about that as to like why. That was like a little hard to swallow, I would say. But I think you just kind of get used to knowing where you can go as a foreigner.
Yeah. And it's, to be honest, it's not every single place, it's not every single club, but there's definitely a few clubs in whichever time you're going to be in that will not allow foreigners.
I've been to like a few baseball games, and I live by the soccer stadium. You'll just hear how loud they get, because Koreans, they have like chants that they memorize and dance moves that they do when they're watching the game.
In Korea, it's you full on there, you focus, you're watching the game, you're cheering with the cheerleaders, you adding to the spirit, the atmosphere in the stadium. So it's really fun. It's really, really cool. Something that's quite popular in Korea is hiking. A lot of the people hike.
I do that.
Yeah. Lovely place to come hiking. A lot of mountains. The Korean people hike a lot of mountains. And I'm telling you, grannies and old uncles, they were just buzzing past me, going uphill. They were like going for it. And it definitely puts things into perspective. You kind of realize how unfit you are. You'll get on the subway and you'll see like people with the hiking gear on their way to some town, about to hike some mountain. Being from South Africa, it is a bit different in the sense that, the towns and the cities, it's very congested. It's a lot of tall buildings, everything sort of packed on top of each other. Whereas in South Africa, we have a lot more space, and you have this freedom when moving outside, Spitting in public, very common. If you see it enough, you find that you end up doing it yourself. And they make very weird sounds, when they like, it's like they're bringing up the spit and the phlegm from like the diaphragm, and it's just Yeah.
In South Africa, you speak what?
British English.
Okay.
Yeah. We say the bin, we don't say trash. We say cool drink, we don't say soda. We say tomato sauce, we don't say ketchup.
You guys say pavement, not sidewalk.
Yeah. If you're not working here, if you're not teaching here, I don't think it's a big problem. But obviously, if you're working and teaching and you're writing in English, there's differences with spelling, so that's something to keep in mind. It's much easier for Koreans to understand the American accent. So you'll find that most foreigners that are in Korea who speak British English, they tend to adjust their accent a little bit just for better understanding. Just a simple example, class would become class, after would become after. Subtle changes, and it might seem like something minor, something not important, but it's just easier for the Korean people to understand.
Our city we're in is called Daegu, and it's a very conservative city. So I think that's why, like, Pedro and I see a lot of people who look the same, like the same outfits. And I just think that that's just like the conformity that the culture has. I just think standing out in some areas is not really praised, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you go to like Busan, which is like one of the liberal cities, I do see Koreans who are able to express themselves through clothing, which I really like.
I think Koreans prefer black, white, gray, beige, you know, the good, safe colors that work. If you're conservative, you'll fit in. If you're quite liberal, you probably would want to find a neighborhood or an area that sort of suits you best, because you might not have the best time anywhere else. Quite a religious country as well.
Christian
in terms of
everywhere.
Christianity,
Sign, yeah.
Buddhist as well. Quite a few atheists, you know, but they obviously still have their things that they believe in, and so on and so forth. Quite traditional. They have some traditional things that they follow as well.
I want to speak about the LGBT community here too. So like Korea is not very progressive when it comes to those things.
I think it's difficult in Korea to come out. I think that's probably one of the biggest issues.
I have a friend who saw in Daegu they had like an LGBT thing going on during Pride Month, and like people were able to talk about their experiences, and I do know that there's a lot of like gay LGBT people here.
I was there for that.
Oh, you were?
In the area when it was happening. I think the biggest difference is that in Korea it's still stigmatized. It still has a negative reputation, especially amongst the older generation. So coming from South Africa, it's something that I'm more accustomed to. Society in Korea is very different to what I'm used to. A scandal in particular goes a long way, you know. Any negative sort of news or any negative message or something like that carries much longer. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for watching. Make sure to give a thumbs up to this video. We wish you the best of luck coming to Korea, or if you're just interested in the culture in general, we hope that this sufficed with as much information as possible.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
We accept US dollars, Korean won, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. I'm just kidding.
Bye!
Bye-bye. Kimchi.
Make sure to check out our other video of us talking about the 10 differences when living inside of a Korean apartment.